Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. Joining me this time on the podcast, a very interesting actress and female wrestler. You might recognize her from the TV show Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, and her latest project, AfterGLOW. Will you please welcome my guest, Roxy Astor. Good morning, Roxy. How you doing?
Hi, good morning. I'm actually waving to the camera, just so you know. It's just a reflex.
Very good. Now, I read before you were a wrestler, you wanted to be a fashion designer. Can you take us through that little portion of your life?
Yeah, I mean, the wrestling didn't start till later. In high school, in order to actually graduate, I found hairdressing. So I was going to be a hairdresser, and I did graduate from being a hairdresser,
awesome.
Which was really, that was my dream. And then the reality is, you have to stay in one place, for years and years. Mm-hmm. And at age 18, that really scared me. So I thought, you know what, I'm in Seattle. Let me do something else while I'm doing hair. And I was an artist growing up. And so I decided I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to actually do, like runway work and really like the big fashion shows. Yeah, so a line in the play that we used, because we kind of do that, the Matilda Hun play, was that I was 3 months away from graduating, and my instructor told me that she couldn't pass me because I didn't stay in the lines in graphics. And I'm like, okay, we use pen and paper back there, not computers. So 3 months away from graduating, and I couldn't get past the graphic arts. And I thought, you know what? Okay. I'll store what I know with hair. I'll store with what I know with fashion designing. It'll happen later on, whatever happens. But it did. I ended up moving to Los Angeles because I thought I had more opportunities out in Los Angeles with either one of them. So, like I said, I just, kind of landing in Los Angeles, and I wasn't really, I'm going to shock you guys, I wasn't a fan of wrestling.
Okay.
I turned on men's wrestling. Yeah, I didn't want to, grow up and be a wrestler. Back in Auburn, Washington, we didn't even watch. I mean, we watched Woody Woodpecker. I know I'm aging myself, but we watched Saturday morning cartoons. We really had no idea what wrestling was until I got here and was watching like a Saturday morning show and seeing WWF for the first time. And that's actually where I first saw Glow. And then it was like a light bulb came on, and I'm like, okay, that's it. That's what I want to do. Okay. Number 3. So I went from hairdresser to fashion designer to, I'll be a wrestler.
And you saw an advertisement for, looking for ladies to be part of this whole thing. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was actually, I would watch WWF, and I kept the TV on a little long, and Glow popped up. And at first, I kind of thought it was, just you're in LA and, weird things pop up. And that's what got me into it. Like, I saw these ladies dancing and rapping, and I'm like, this is really a thing. This is a TV show. So I was just a fan watching Glow, and my favorite character was Matilda the Hun. Uh-huh. Like, I had never seen Mountain Fiji. I'd never seen anything like this. And, and I hear this from guys and women that, to this day, that I wanted to be you. I wanted to be that person. So I feel like Glow back then really inspired men, women of all shapes and sizes that they could actually do and be a wrestler. They didn't have to be like the cookie cutter look that you had in WWF at the time. So they did have that chance of being it. So I was watching, and then this ad came on, was, do you want to be a Glow girl? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I didn't know that, I just called up and just, I sent a really hot picture of me with a leather mini skirt and, bent over a motorcycle going, yeah. I'm like, if that doesn't get their attention, I don't know what will. But the following week, I end up getting an audition. And the funny thing is, if I would have known there was about 3,500 to 4,000 girls that tried out, I think I probably would have been a little intimidated. So I'm glad there was not social media back there to kind of psych me out. So I just kind of went in thinking, oh, yeah, there's just me and like another 10 other girls.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in with confidence. But the weird thing is, like, when you know you're supposed to be somewhere, you just know it. And I knew that was for me. I knew I had to do something different. It wasn't so much of the wrestling part, but it was just something unique. And I'm young and wanted to try new things. And so I did. I went for an audition, and I went in there. And the funny thing is, I was kind of telling them who I was going to be. I'm going to be bad, because that was my dream, was to be a bad girl, because they got away with everything.
Mm-hmm.
The good girls were always just smiling, and they had to be good. And then I'm like, no, I want to be bad. So I went in there, and that's why I gave them the visual. Hey, this is the character I'm going to be. See, this is how it's going to go. And I'm like, you don't do that to a director, and you don't do that to the owner of the Riviera. So they kind of, Matt Simber, the director, he was formerly married to Jane Mansfield, and Matt Simber, and then Rickless, who owned the Riviera. They just kind of looked at me and laughed and just kind of shook their head. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I think that's it. But, that was fun. But the following week, I did get a call that basically said if I could, pay for my own way there, get myself there, because they weren't offering any money to, for a tryout. They wanted to see how bad people wanted to be in Glow. And I was just like, this is it. There's no turning back for me. I'm like, I'm going to be a Glow girl. I'm like, this is it. So I did. I showed up. And so obviously they dwindled from 3,500 down to 150, but that was still a lot of girls.
Yes.
And my thing is, I probably had the best car in Glow. I had a 924 Porsche, which I later found out had a salvage title, but that's another story. But I thought I was so cool in that car that kept breaking down all the way to Las Vegas. So I'm there, and there's like 150 girls, and they're just like everywhere. And they were just like, I saw green mohawks that always stood in my mind. Now, keep in mind, this is the 80s.
Right,
and
yes,
just like these women were just like roller skating and just trying to get attention. And I just kind of sat back and go, okay, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this?
How are we going to get the attention? Exactly. Yes.
I'm going to do everything I'm supposed to do. And I did. And I ended up bonding with, I had a friend named Justice, who was like another girl named Liberty. And so they were replacing a lot of the characters from season 1 and 2. And I did not know, because there was no social media, know that we were replacing a lot of the girls that we were going to basically, whoever got picked, be filming in 6 months for a TV show. So when you're just like this girl from Auburn, Washington, who's never wrestled, to being, a tryout, it was crazy, but it was like, I call it a roller coaster ride. It was one I didn't want to get off, though. So I'm just kind of watching. And then after like 4 or 5 months, the girls they were either getting fired, or a lot of the girls got hurt. But you know what? They weren't taking the moves and the workouts seriously. It was like, yeah, I'm cute. I could just make it, and that's it. But they were getting hurt. And so I took it seriously and decided to run 2 miles a day, get up and work out. And I was just like, if I'm going to go, I'm just going to go on my own or something, but I'm not going to go because I'm hurt, because I'm not training.
Right. Yeah.
So I took the training very serious. And then after 5 months, there was probably, I'm going to say maybe 40 girls there, maybe less. So all those other girls were gone, fired. And then we were brought in. And that's when Matt Simber said, welcome to Glow, and gave us our character names.
Oh, so your name was chosen for you. You didn't get a chance to choose it, huh?
I didn't choose anything. I would have been, like I say in my play, I would have been Harley girl, the motorcycle girl. Yeah, I would have been that. I would not have been Roxy Astor from Park Avenue, New York, because I didn't even know how to write a check back then. So. I'm like, what's a credit card? I have a limit. I don't even have a credit card, but I end up playing Roxy Astor from Park Avenue, very rich socialite, with my tag team partner, Tiffany Mellon from Mellon Financial, and obviously Roxy Astor from the Astor family in New York.
Oh, so you're the little rich girls, yeah.
Yeah. I always make a joke that I was the rich girl that only had one outfit.
You know, it's strange, Roxy. You're a come on music, the music that brings you out. You should have been Rich Girl by Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't think Glow wanted to pay for anything.
No, we're not going to pay any royalties or any residuals.
Yeah, we're not going to pay anything extra for you. What they finally did is, after my top kept falling off and breaking, they finally gave me new straps for my outfit. And I got some glitter shoulder pads. Yay. But it was the same outfit.
Oh, jeez. Can you tell us a little bit about the camaraderie, the dynamics about the cast members and, how it was on set and how it was like maybe off the set type thing as far as that goes?
Well, okay, Matt Simber had an idea, and I'm taking you back to the 80s, that the good girls could not hang out with the bad girls. But the funny thing is I was, those were the friends that I wanted, the bad girls. So we would sneak out. And if you stayed out past a certain time, you were fined $50. But I would always find my way around. And the tattletales, I would stay away from and never invite them out.
Yeah.
So I would, I sat back and analyzed. So I hung out with Beastie, the Road Warrior, and Daisy. And we would just go party until like 6 a.m. in Vegas. But that would be after our matches and filming and just to kind of let go. But I don't think we ever got caught I don't think they were going to tell on us. But I'm going to tell you, any girl at that time, except for a few, they were kind of, it's about me and they'll take any girl down. And I'm just sorry, you get a bunch of girls together. You know what you're going to get.
Right, yeah.
It's a lot of gossip. It's a lot of fighting. Yeah. But this is also where I brought my hairdressing into. This was because I gave Beastie her first mohawk. I did Gremlina's hair. I did Stinky's hair. I did some of the girls. So I made a little extra side cash doing hair. See how that worked?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it comes back. It's a full circle type moment. Very good. We're talking with Roxy Astor from Glow. Before we continue, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast. It's heard on the World Wide Web at SomeoneYouShouldKnowPodcast.com. If you go there, you're going to find recent news, our archive of more than 200 episodes, and a whole lot more, too. So check that out for sure. According to Buzzsprout, the service that shares us to all the podcasting streaming platforms around the world, so very blessed to reach over 2,500 cities in 96 countries around the world. I want to salute some of those today: Austin, Texas, Milford, Connecticut, Portage, Indiana, and Waikato in Somerset in Great Britain. How about that? That's a new one right there. Someone You Should Know podcast, heard wherever quality streaming audio is available. Thanks so much for listening. Once again, we're speaking with Roxy Astor. And I understand that you now have a project called AfterGLOW, which brings back a lot of the original Glow girls. Can you tell us about how this project all came together?
Okay. So it was just kind of like a challenge to myself. After the Glow documentary, which was great, by the way, and it just brought a lot of eyes onto who we were and what we went through. I kind of felt like there was a lot of girls left out, and a lot of people would ask me, well, why wasn't this girl asked? Why wasn't this one? And I just kind of thought, you know what, look, I'm going to try something. I'm going to do a Kickstarter. I'm not going to ask for a lot of money, but if this Kickstarter is successful, if I raise the money, it was only like $5,000, then I'm going to get Glow Girls, which I ended up getting 11 Glow Girls on stage, and kind of do, call it the AfterGLOW fan party. And it was fun because the Kickstarter I got really creative with. I was offering, if you donate $10, I will send you dirt from Gremlina's backyard. or if you donate 15, I'll send you glitter after one of my matches.
Jeez.
So, you know what? And nobody took us up on that. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe the mail would not have liked us sending that in.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, so I, you know what? It was a good idea, but I did a lot of phone calls to a lot of fans. So I did that. After I only did a month because I thought I'm going to push it and see what I can do. And, but I had to also see if I could get the Glow girls. So I had to kind of call them up and just go, hey, well, would you if I, and in wrestling, you hear so much bull that it's kind of like, and they're like, yeah, Roxy, yeah, call us when you raise the money. And I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, okay, to me, those are fighting words. It's if, I will do it. On the last day, I mean, we had this really neat artist named Jenner DeVera who always did a lot of our artwork for us. And I think it was maybe the last 3 days. And I said, hey, I'll go out to lunch with you for $1,000. Anybody out there? And I'm just throwing myself, hey, what? Here, let's just do that. It's only $5,000. And he ended up donating $1,000, which put us over that. So we did raise it. And I had lunch with him at Denny's. I didn't say where, but then I brought him onto a radio show, and I think it was with Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. Got him a radio show and did a little bit of stuff for him. He's a deaf artist, and he was actually sketching me while we were on the radio show. So I kind of do a little bit more. But the cool thing is I got to call the girls and say, hey, I did it. And this is what you're going to get. You're going to get $100. You're going to get fed, which they loved. And you get to keep all your merchandise sales. And, we're just going to have a big party reunion and all that. Some girls just, didn't want to do it. But the main girls that I got, I'm glad Godiva. So for your fan out there in Great Britain, Godiva was there.
Okay, very good.
And so then I ended up getting, I think it was 11 Glow girls, but I got Matilda the Hun.
Oh, yeah.
I got Matilda the Hun. And in the play I did this whole reenactment of how I called her. And I actually had a phone in my hand. It was just because my big thing was we were all scared of her. And honestly, like I said, we hear so much promises and bull, and it's kind of like, yeah. So I'm kind of like, okay, I just got to get the venue. I'll put the money aside for the girls. I got to keep my word. And then I end up, in Los Angeles, you think that you can find a venue. Well, no, that was probably the hardest thing to do because they wanted 3-day runs and they wanted 6-week runs at the time. Oh, wow. This was before COVID, Yeah, that was actually 10 years ago. So it was booming back then, the theater. So I really had a hard time. And then finally, I ended up finding one at the Acme Comedy Theater in Los Angeles. And within 2 months, I had raised the money, booked the venue, put the show together. And then I thought, you know what? I want a video. I want to, put this on video. And now we actually have it on there. It's on YouTube. And so it was kind of an interactive show with the Glow fans. But I had Matilda the Hun sitting next to me, and that's kind of where I got to know her. And she was so funny. Oh my God. And we made her the first AfterGLOW queen. She was the first AfterGLOW queen.
Very good.
And she took that seriously, and somebody stole her crown, and we're still looking for it.
That's funny. That's hilarious. I got to ask you, since you started talking about YouTube, let's talk about your socials. I want to make sure everyone can find you. And be sure to check this thing out on YouTube. Yeah.
Well, on my socials, I'm to help with rescuing animals.
Oh, wonderful.
That's my first love. And I did an event last year, and I'm one of the Red Alert rescue ladies where I would go in, because I've been doing this for about 6 years, where I would post dogs that were kind of on, at their last few days, and really go in and push it. But I've been doing it for years. And so I'm kind of throwing myself more into the mix. And in fact, I'm working on something. It's like a stand-up pit bull foundation. I think Linda Blair she's one of the major rescues that are going to be there. So my heart really is with animal rescues and saving animals and doing whatever I can do. And if you do look at my social media, I'm sorry, you will see some wrestling stuff, but you will see a dog that you perhaps might want to adopt. Or
I love that idea. And that's one thing we'll definitely share.
That's on Instagram, Roxy.Astor.
All right, very good.
Yeah, it's, you know what? Yeah, that's just, I don't know. That just feels good to do that. And then when I see that a dog is actually saved, and I've had people come up to me because, I think I've lost a few fans, Glow fans, but I do put Glow stuff out there, like with the Matilda the Hun play. But I have to, I got to do what feels right for me. And honestly, rescuing and saving animals is where I'm at in my life. Besides the play and showing up for certain fan events too, just to keep the Afterglow and Glow alive.
Absolutely. You'll be proud of
but
us.
I think
We've got, our studio is called CatGotYourTongueStudios. We have 2 cats. Both are rescues. One wandered into our backyard. We tried to find, who his owners were, and he just absolutely fell in love with us. And I had never been a cat person. I'd always been a dog person. And he's been with us for about 3 years now, and he is my shadow. He sleeps on top of me every day. He's my buddy. His name's Angel. And then we also rescued Chloe, who sadly was pregnant at the time that we adopted her. We didn't know anything about her. She was only about a year old. And sadly, she lost the kittens that she was carrying, but we took a very good care of her, nursed her back to health, and now she's as feisty as ever, and we just love her to death. But occasionally, you'll see cats going across the board here, and you'll see it in the monitor there. Those are our crazy little cats that we love so much.
I love it. Hey, you know what? I have a rescue dog named Chloe.
Oh, very good. Awesome. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, very good. What we're going to do is
popular name.
We're going to include all your socials and that information down in the show notes. So anyone who would like to help out and adopt a dog or a cat or whatever it might be, they can check it out in the socials there. I got to ask you, this is something that we normally do when we have musicians on, and this pertains to any entertainers. It's called Tales from the Road. Those are those infamous road stories where things didn't go quite as planned. And I think today we'll do Tales from the Ring, since you're a member of Glow. Anything ever happened like you got injured or anything that really didn't go quite as planned there, Roxy?
Yeah, it's my favorite story. And you know what? It's funny because when I do an interview, people go back to YouTube and when I'm at a Comic-Con, they'll ask me the same question, like, what was that? And then I'll go, by the way, yes, I was wrestling for the Glow Crown. I was wrestling Cheyenne Cher. And I'm more of a very strong, tight wrestler. Fine. And this is what we do. You kind of lay out your mat, you do this, and you walk through. You don't really do it full force, but we know what we're doing. And it was for the Glow Crown. It was a big thing. And in the middle of it, there was a part where I think I did a sunset flip, and she threw me into the ropes afterwards. And then she did a kick, and the kick was, it was like a 3/4 kick, and she actually kicked me on the side of the head, and I was completely out cold.
Oh, geez.
Completely. My. So if you look at the Cheyenne Cher for the Glow Crown and Godiva, you will look at it closely when she kicks me, because what happened was the camera goes over to the audience, and so it cuts away from what happened, but you could see my head going back. So you could see it going back, like there was a force, and but then they cut away the audience, and then they didn't know if I was going to come to. They didn't know if I was going to be able to finish it. And you got to keep in mind, we are doing this live. We're doing this live, and this is all part of they can't redo it. Like, this is it. So how is this going to run through when you've got this storyline? And and if you don't finish it, it kind of ruins the whole storyline for the whole whatever's going on.
Right, exactly.
So this is what I heard from one of the writers. Okay, so I'm out cold. I'm on the ground, and I remember coming to, and I could hear like the writer Steve Blanche going, "Roxy, you going to get up?" Or like, "What's going on?" And I'm still kind of like, fuzzy, and I don't know, but I jump up like Rocky. That's what I say. This is my Rocky moment. Dun, 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 dun. I get up, and if you look in my eyes, you can see I'm like so mad and set off, and it was nothing I could really control. It was just being knocked in the head. And so I'm actually going through the match, and I'm doing everything. But every move I'm doing, I'm like throwing her. I'm just like, it's power. It's just, I totally got set off. And then there's a part where Godiva comes in and she messes with the match, and you know how that goes. And I ended up being disqualified, whatever. So on the outside of the ring, I am seriously beating the crap out of Godiva.
Mm-hmm.
I am swinging. I am grabbing. And it was real. It was just kind of, and she's whispering to me like, Roxy, what are you doing? Like, calm down. What are you doing? And I'm just like swinging and just like going after. So if you look back at that match, what you saw there was real. It was real. It was real. And she's just trying to kind of get away from everything. And I'm still attacking her.
Oh, my goodness.
And she's like trying to talk me down. Then we go in the back and she's like, okay, I get it. Okay. And we were like hugging after, but it was just something that you can't control.
Yeah.
But if you see the kick, you'll understand. Because I have a friend of mine that he wants to put it in a meme and just go, oh, and they watch and they're just like, oh, wow. Well, my head snaps back.
Yeah. We're going to try to find that and actually put that down in the show link so everyone can check that out. We've been speaking with Roxy Astor. Roxy, of course, is of Glow and AfterGLOW. She's been a great guest, and I want to say thanks so much for taking your time to be with us today, Roxy. And we want to make sure that everyone checks out what you've been up to and continues to follow you. We wish you well with everything you got going on.
All right. Well, I'm glad we finally got to do this. I mean, this is great. And we did finish the Matilda the Hun play, and now we're kind of doing some special. We're just not going to drop it on YouTube. We're going to drop it at fans' viewing parties. So we're going to get some viewing parties together. We're going to send them some playbills, give them a code, and we're letting them do the viewing parties. We're just not going to we're not just going to drop it. We're going to do a special thing.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that. Awesome. So. Very good. Roxy, God bless you. Thanks for being part of our ever-growing Someone You Should Know family. Okay.
All right, and thanks for loving animals.
Absolutely.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.